Hey lovely souls, thank you very much for joining in this evening. This evening's video is going to be still about domestic violence awareness because that still is the month that we're in. However, tonight we're going to talk about red flags and abusive patterns. So I want you guys to take notes, write this information down so that way you have a lot of information. You are very knowledgeable about what I'm going to talk. After you listen to this video, you're going to be very, very knowledgeable about what I'm sharing with you in this video. So I want to kind of break this down, and I want to help you to be able to see what the patterns would look like when we talk about domestic violence, as well as what are the red flags. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And these patterns, these abusive patterns that I'm going to talk about, please, by all means, do not ignore these patterns, okay? This is something that happens in every domestic violence relationship. They are so common, okay? And you may look at them and say, oh, he cares about me, or oh, she cares about me. Well, I'm here to let you know, if this person is being abusive to you, these patterns that I'm sharing with you, this person is actually grooming you for this relationship, for you to be okay with it when it does become physical, okay? So I'm just kind of sharing this information with you, and I want you guys to please take heed of this, okay? Please write down these red flags and these patterns that I'm going to share with you, okay? So first I wanted to actually kind of bring up a stat, and let me just go in here and pull up this statistic, because it's very alarming, and I want you guys to, like I said, be aware of it, okay? So I'm always going to share some great information with you to help you to stay on top of what is going on with domestic violence, so that you are aware of any, if there's any changes that would take place as far as the behaviors of a person that is an abusive individual. And so we're just going to talk about it, okay? So let me go ahead and pull up this information. Oh, come on, I'm gonna need you to work, computer. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna look at some stats, and let me just see if this is doing what it's supposed to do. So hold on a moment. Okay, so let's get into this. Okay, so now I have the stats pulled up. So the stat that I want to share with you, it says in 2025, that's this year, approximately 10 million people in the United States experience domestic violence annually, with significant impacts across all demographics and forms of abuse. So now, if you've watched my video on last week, I shared with you the different forms of abuse, and we talked about physical, verbal, mental, emotional, psychological, financial, economic. We talked about reproductive coercion. We talked about technology and social, right? Social media. We also talked about spiritual abuse, right? So, and then we also covered one that a lot of people don't know about, which is immigration status. We talked about those, all of those last week, right? And I told you that this week we would touch on those as well. So I'm going to touch on them. Well, last week, if you watched the video, I gave you detailed information about each individual one, okay? So the ones that I'm going to talk about today is in relation to the red flags, okay? So I really want you to pay attention to the emotional side of abuse, the mental and psychological side of abuse, the financial and economic side of abuse, and I also want you to look at in terms of the technology and the social media side of, social side of abuse, okay? So I want you to pay very close attention, because the physical and the verbal is something that you will see, probably early on in the relationship, but you may not know that you're also being groomed emotionally, mentally, psychologically, financially. It's so many different ways that this individual in your life can manipulate you and groom you through this relationship, and you don't even know that, okay? So let's go ahead and get on into the red flag. So now I'm going to talk about in terms of the person being jealous of you. So now, jealous of you showing attention to other people, to your children, okay, to your friends, to your family, you going and having fun and enjoying your life. That person could start to become jealous and want all of your time. They can also display behaviors of being possessive. Like, where are you going? I thought you were going to stay in tonight. Or when you got off work, why didn't you come home? Where did you go when you got off work? So it'll be things, well, they'll kind of say subtle stuff like, oh, well, I was expecting you to be home, right after work. And, I didn't know you were going someplace else. I was concerned about you. So next time, will you call me and let me know if you're going someplace after work? Because I'm concerned. Okay. I want you to keep that in mind. Okay. So these are red flags. These are patterns of behaviors that individuals do that are abusers in relationships. Okay. So it looks on the outside, it looks as if this person cares about you. He's so kind. He's so understanding. She's so kind and understanding. And then you find out later that this person has really been watching you. This person has really been controlling you, but you didn't know it because you didn't see it as it being controlling. Okay. And then when you do see the sign, or if the person, becomes physically abusive to you, or the person becomes verbally abusive, then you're going to be shocked, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person did this to me, or this person treated me this way. But what you missed was all of the other scenarios that happened where this person was grooming you to be prepared for when they became physical or when they became verbally abusive to you. Okay. So just look at, in terms of what I mentioned about the red flag. So that would be one. They would be jealous. The person would be possessive of you. And even in the relationship. So if this is a new relationship, this person might be moving just a little bit fast in this relationship. And you're like, whoa, 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 pump the brakes. Like, right. Like you start dating this person. Next thing you know, a few weeks into the relationship, or maybe a month into the relationship, they want you to move in with them. Okay. Or maybe they want to move in with you. So it's something for you to kind of think about, like, am I ready for this person to, look at me in terms of wanting to move in with me? Am I ready for this, right? So when you're in a relationship and this individual is moving too fast and wanting to move fast in this relationship and get you to a place where they want to, like I said, move in with you. They want you to move in with them, or maybe they're talking about marriage and you're like, wow, I've only met this person. I've only known this person for a short amount of time. And this person's talking about marrying me, right? Like, wow, because this is something that I've always wanted. I know of other people it happened to, or maybe you watched a movie and you saw it and you said, oh, I would love for somebody to propose to me after I've only met them for a short time, right? So all of these thoughts that you have going on, and then when you're presented something like this from somebody that is trying to, as we call it, love bombing you, okay? This person is setting you up for he or she to control your life. So you want to be mindful of that. You want to take it slow. Don't be so quick to jump into a relationship with somebody and you don't really know that person that well, okay? Sorry about that. Something's going on with my light. Okay. So you don't want to just jump right on into a relationship with someone until you really feel like you can feel like you know this person a little bit more. And that could take maybe 6 months to a year. It could take even longer depending on if you guys are not in the same city, if you're not in the same state, if you're, long distance relationship. You may want to take a little bit longer time to get to know that person, to be around that individual in different types of settings. You want to make sure that you're around this person when it comes to like going out to eat. You want to see how do they deal with, the waiter? How do they deal with, not the waiter, the waitress? How do they deal with the waitress? Or how do they deal with the hostess? If you go into a restaurant and say you've been standing there for a long period of time, and maybe it's taking a longer time, the person's getting impatient. You want to see where this person's, tolerance level is. You want to see if this person is quick to get angry, right? And the only way to find this out is to be around this person in different type of settings. Go out to the movie and see how the person responds if you have to stand in a line to get, maybe to get your tickets, or maybe to get your, go to concession stand and get the foods that you want. You watch and see how this person is responding. If you have to go and take your car in to get an oil change or get some service on your car, take the person with you, because you want to see how are they going to deal with the public, and you are around to see that. It's so many different scenarios that you can, watch and see and observe how this person is interacting. How do they get along with you? How do they communicate with you? Are they communicating with you in an effective way? Are they communicating with you out of anger? Are they communicating communicating with you in a way where it's condescending, right? Are they trying to make it seem like they're smarter than you? You don't want to date somebody that's talking to you that way, because that's talking down to you, right? That's also a form of verbal abuse and also emotional, mental, and psychological abuse. So you don't want to be in a relationship like that. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone that is talking negative to your children, right? Talking down to your children, or, you know, around your family or your friends, they have a negative attitude towards them. You want to watch and see how all of this is going, okay? Children are very, very honest, and yes, sometimes children can be stuck on they wanting their parents together, and they may kind of play both sides and say, well, I don't like this person because, you know, I just don't like them, and they really want the parents to be back together. Or the child could be telling you something like, I don't like this person, and maybe they don't know how to express why they don't like this individual. But it's always best for you to try to find out, why does my son or daughter not like the person that I like? You know, this person seems to be nice, but my son or daughter doesn't like this person. Or maybe my dog doesn't like this person, right? You want to look at, because dogs, cats, you know, children, they have that sense of if the other person is a danger, if, you know, they have a sense that we don't have, you know, to be able to see things. And a lot of times, let's just be real, a lot of times we look over stuff because we really like that person. We like the way they look, we may like the way they smell, we may like the type of job that they have, you know, type of car that they drive, if they have a home or something. You know, we looking at their bank account. We may like certain things about the person. Maybe it's the physical aspect of the person, right? Maybe it's the way that the person look. You like the way the person look. Maybe it's their physique. You like the, you know, if it's a guy that he has, you know, abs, you like that part of him, or he got tattoos, or, you know, he seems the rough kind of guy, the rugged kind of guy, you know, the thug kind of guy. Maybe it's something about this person that has really drawn you to that individual, right? But you don't want to get caught up in the appearance of the person. You don't want to get caught up in what the person has, right? The material stuff, their job, how much money they make, what kind of car they drive, if they have a house, if they have an apartment. You don't want to get caught up in those things, because those things can change. What usually doesn't change is a person's characteristics. That's what you want to look for. I'm not going to get too deep into that today. I'm going to talk about that on next week, okay? On the next video, on next Tuesday. I'm going to get more deep into that. What I want to share with you today, let's jump back over here to these red flags, because I don't want to talk too long and go past it, okay? I don't want to get off track. So the other one I was going to tell you is isolation, okay? So if they are isolating you from your friends, from your family, if you have adult children and they're isolating you from your adult children, if you have young children and say maybe you have to share custody with your spouse, or, you know, with your ex, and your children have to go over for a weekend, and he has a problem with them going over to see their dad, right? Or to see their mom. He has an issue with that, or he's trying to talk you into letting the other parent keep custody of the children, and you're on the other end. He's telling you, he or she is telling you, you know, hey, if it was just me and you, we'd have so much fun. We'd be able to do this. We could travel. We could, you know, all of this. You don't want to, you know, let your kids go and stay at your spouse's place because this person that's in your life is trying to manipulate you into thinking that would be a good thing, okay? You don't want to do that. Those are your children, right? So you want to look at that and say, why is he or she trying to keep me away from my children? That means that person is wanting to be controlling in your relationship. They only want your time. They only want you to spend time with them. They want all of you, okay? And that's not healthy. So if this person is actually calling you all the time when you're at work, and they're checking on you, as I mentioned a little before, and then this person is, you know, when you are gone with your friends, they're wanting you to call and text them and let them know where you are, and they're using this to say, oh, it's because I just want to make sure you're safe. Don't believe that, okay? Don't believe that. If you see some signs where this person is being controlling, where this person is being manipulative, where this person has been verbally abusive to you or physically abusive to you, just know you've already been groomed. I'm just going to keep it real. You've already been groomed, and this person has groomed you to the point to when they become physical, when they become verbal, when their control comes out, even more, and they start verbalizing this, then you're like, wow, I didn't even see all of this coming, right? Where did this come from? Oh, he's changed or she's changed. Maybe it's because they're going through something. Maybe they're dealing with some issues on their job. Then we start trying to justify. I'm just going to keep it real. Then we start trying to justify why this person is acting the way they're acting. Maybe they just lost a loved one. Okay, maybe they're going through something, or if the person is using alcohol or getting high, drugs or weed or something. Then we say, okay, well maybe they were just high. They didn't really mean that, right? No, don't believe that. You believe what you're seeing. And I'm just going to tell you this quote, which is so very, very important, and it is so very, very true. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. When they show you the first time, believe them. If you're in a domestic, and this was from Dr. Maya Angelou, that quote that I just said. If you are in a domestic violence, or if you're in a relationship and you don't know it's domestic violence yet, and this person hit you, they've already showed you who they are. Why would you stay? Don't stay in an unhealthy relationship like that. At the first sign of abuse, you want to be looking for the door to leave. If you are at this person's place, you stay there until you can get out of that environment, and then after you leave, that is it. When it's time for you to go home, you leave, and you leave that person alone. Do not believe when they start calling you and saying, oh, I'm so sorry, the apologies, I didn't mean this, I was upset, something you said to me upset me. So every time I say something to you that upsets you, you're going to hit me, or you're going to call me out of my name, or you're going to push me. No, I'm not going to give in to that, right? So you want to look at the behaviors of this individual. And remember what I said, the first sign of abuse, you want to be cutting out of there, okay? I don't care if this person is your husband, is your wife. You have to look at, hey, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you and you're going to be abusive to me. That's not going to happen. You got to put your foot down and say, no, I'm not going for this. As I like to say, I didn't sign up for this. Don't believe it. Don't fall for that, okay? Because that person is manipulating you. And they'll go through what we call the cycles of abuse, which is where it starts off where everything is going good. Then you have that time when, the tension is building up. You've gotten into an argument. The tension has built up. And then as that tension is building up, something else may happen. They may get frustrated at their job or frustrated with another person. And, and then an incident happened. They may become verbally, start cursing and things like this. And before you know it, that's when the physical part comes in, and that person is physically abusive to you, or maybe they're just verbally abusive to you, and then they come back to you and they, oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize, I didn't mean to do that, I was just upset, I had been drinking, I was just angry about some things, and I am so sorry. They come and they want to apologize to you. And if you fall for that, you know what's going to happen? It's going to continue again. It's going to happen. That same pattern is going to happen again. Things are going to be good because after they apologize, then things are going to be calm for a while. You're not going to have any issues for a while. Then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but after that pattern goes through, after that niceness wears off and that person is no longer being nice, being calm, being patient, being loving, because they looking at it like, I just blew up with this person. Now I gotta be, I gotta keep my emotions down a little bit because I don't want him or her to leave, right? So now they're gonna play that game of, oh, everything is okay. And then you're gonna end up staying, and then it's gonna happen again. That same pattern gonna happen again. Things are gonna be going good. The tension's gonna build up. There's gonna be an incident, whether it's verbally abusive or, they may push you. They might, as you're going through, call you out of your name or something like that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Then it's going to be the apology again. And it's just that cycle of abuse is going to continue to keep going the longer you stay in that relationship. Okay. And then it's going to get to a point where those episodes of the tension building and going right into an incident where that person is physically abusive to you, then that part is going to continue. And then the apology part is not going to come anymore. It's just going to be, I hit you, I did this, I'm physically abusive, I'm verbally abusive. All the different forms of abuse is just going to continue to keep going. And they're not going to be, I apologize, trying to smooth things over, because you know why? Because when they did it the first few times and you stayed, now to them, they know that they have you under their control. and they're not going to be as apologetic as they were before, because they're thinking, why would I do that? She's not going to stay. She's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. They're going to be right here. So there's no reason for me to apologize, because I don't have to. I don't need to apologize because I'm right and they're wrong. That's what this person's going to be thinking. So you don't want to stay in these abusive relationships when someone shows you who they are the first time. Verbally being abusive to you, if that is not a behavior that you are okay with, don't stay in that kind of a relationship. It's not a healthy relationship to stay in. I dated this guy that was a truck driver. And he used to call me all the time. And when we first started talking, I was like, oh, this is so sweet. He likes talking to me. I'm getting this attention. I'm enjoying our conversations all the time. And we always found something to talk about while he's driving. And, if I was working a puzzle or something like that, I would ask him the questions over the phone. And then he'd tell me, what he thought the answer was. And so we were like really communicating a lot, and for long periods of time. Like after I got off work, we would communicate. He'd text me while I'm at work. And then when I got off work, I would call and we talk on the phone till sometimes 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on if it was like a Friday night or something. I would stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning while he's on the road driving, talking to him. If it was during the week, I probably would stay up to maybe 11, 12 o'clock, talking to him on the phone. We would talk for like hours, and it may take a break, or I got to go put gas in my truck, or, let me go get something to eat. I'm going to get something to eat. He going to call me when he get back. We back on the phone again for another 2 or 3 hours. This is what we did for months. For a couple of months. And then I start to realize the reason that he was doing this is because he was really keeping up with if I'm talking to somebody else, if I'm cheating on him and he's away traveling, because he wouldn't know, right? So that was him absorbing my time every day, hours and hours at a time. And it was a good thing that I wasn't in school, because it probably would have been an issue like, well, you studying, how long are you going to be studying? It probably would have been something like that, because there was times when I wanted to go somewhere with a friend, and I would say, hey, I'm going to be with a friend, and he would still text me, while I'm there. Hey, so is everything okay? You still with your friend? Text me when you're on your way home. He would tell me stuff like this. And like I said in the beginning, I just looked at it like, it was just cool. Because it had been a long time from that I had been in a relationship where the person was that interacting as far as, wanting to communicate. And so I was like, okay, that's good. I kind of remember that when I was dating, my ex-husband before we got married, and we stayed in contact all the time. I didn't think nothing of it, right? It wasn't a bad thing then. And I'm like, okay, now it's happening again. So it's okay. I'm used to that. But I didn't realize exactly what was happening. I'll put it this way. I overlooked it. Okay. Even though I had been teaching on domestic violence, I overlooked that because I didn't get the feel from him that he was trying to control me. Okay. I didn't see any signs of that before. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, we communicate and we talk, and we always had something to talk about. We never was bored on the phone. Right. So it was like, it just slipped through me, through the relationship, and I missed it. Right. But when I realized what was going on, then I started talking to him about it. He was like, oh, no, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. I just like talking to you, right? And then I realized other stuff started coming out too. His other behavior started coming out of say certain things he would say, kind of rough in the conversation with me. And I was like, okay, no, we can't have those kind of conversations. I can't let you talk to me that way, right? So you have to be mindful of your interactions with the person that you're in a relationship with, and you got to watch those signs. Not that you have to be paranoid. I'm not telling you to do that, but I am telling you to be mindful, because it can come in so smooth that you don't even realize that you're in a domestic violence relationship, or this person is controlling you or grooming you. Because you're looking at the fact that we're spending time together. I enjoy being around this person. We're calling and talking to each other. Then you realize, oh, he's calling me more than I'm calling him, or she's calling me more than I'm calling her, right? So you want to look at all of the aspects of what's going on, the behaviors of what's going on in your relationship. Okay. So I hope that I've shared a lot of great information with you. On next week, I'll share, more about it, and then we'll talk about why do individuals stay, and I'll kind of give you some more scenarios about it. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit more about the patterns of abuse as well. And I'll show you, a wheel that we call the circle of abuse. I'll show that to you so that way you have more understanding about it, okay? So with that being said, guys, you guys have a great night. I enjoy talking to you guys. I hope you take notes, so go back and look at this video again. And with that being said, guys, you have a great night, and I will see you when you got it on next Tuesday. Bye-bye.